Hey guys, what's going on? So today my video is entitled, How Do I Read So Fast? And so I'm basically going to essentially be sharing with you strategies that I've found to help me just get more reading done in my life. And I've seen the concept for this video kind of floating around YouTube a little bit the last month or so, and I actually really like it. I've really enjoyed hearing ways that you find the time to get your reading goals done, and I actually find them very helpful. I as well have had people in my life asking me like, how the heck do you find time to read so many books when you work 2 jobs and you have other commitments and you dance and all this stuff? How do you get all this reading done? So I'm really excited today to be releasing this video and just putting my input out there in the hopes that it can help some of you guys who are just struggling even with school or other commitments and work to find the time to read. So yeah, without further ado, let's just like dive right into this. Number 1 on my list is make a routine. Find the time of day that works best for you to just get a little bit of reading in. I tend to find time to read between shifts or on my days off. I just usually devote like 90% of my time to reading. Doesn't matter what your routine is. If you're a routine person and you find that planning ahead helps you, it helps me. Specifically going into the day, setting aside time to read and consciously thinking about it and planning it beforehand has helped me definitely to get more reading done. Number 2 would be don't count out the little 5-minute reading opportunities that you have. So sometimes there'll be 5 minutes before I have to leave to go somewhere that's sort of just like void space that I maybe in the past would have used to go on like social media or something, but I've been finding that it's actually really helpful to get some reading in those 5-minute times. So don't count out the short spans of time. Don't look at those in the mindset that they're pointless or worthless or just like too short to get a significant chunk of reading done. I actually find them very helpful and they inspire me to read more throughout the day because I'll read and I'll be like, man, I have to read more of this book. Number 3 is a big one. Cut out social media. I found that social media is probably the biggest blocker that I have between where I'm at now and getting my reading goals done. I'll just find myself, I'll just go on Facebook for 5 minutes. It turns into an hour. It turns into an hour and a half. It's really awful. The months that I have been able to stay away from scanning social media have been my biggest reading months. Honestly, guys, if you can figure out a way to just like cut most of the social media out of your life and instead use that time for reading, you will find that you will get so much more reading done. Trust me. Number 4 is also super important to me. It's something that I've sort of like learned in the last few months especially, is don't force it. Don't allow reading to become a chore. That's the last thing you want. Something that you're passionate about. You don't want it to become work. As booktubers or book enthusiasts, we set goals that we want to see done. We want to accomplish X amount of reading this month. Sometimes we're just not into it. Sometimes we fall into reading slumps, and sometimes we have other passions that we want to develop. I've been trying to learn how to play the guitar again, and I've been trying to develop my photography and videography skills, and sometimes those do come in the way of reading. But when I try to force it and I'm like, man, I need to get my reading done, I don't have time for any of this stuff, I need to just like focus, it's not a good thing when you do that, because then reading becomes something that you dread doing. It becomes work. It becomes a chore. So don't allow it to become that in your life. If you're going through a month where you're sort of like in a reading sludge and you're just wanting to kind of experiment with other things and have fun doing other things, that is totally okay. Release yourself of all that guilt and just let it be. So number 5, going off of that theme with goals there, is set realistic goals, but don't be upset if you don't meet those goals. So I know that sounds a little bit contradictory and maybe a little bit pointless, but let me explain. I think that even just like having a goal there, a loose goal, is inspiring. It's motivating, and it sort of like gives you enough drive to keep reading and just keep thinking about like, oh, I also wanted to read this book this month, but it's totally okay if you don't meet that goal. Just like finding that balance in that mindset of being motivated even if you maybe don't meet that goal that month. It's okay. Number 6 is a huge thing in my life. Read multiple formats. So by that I mean I like reading hard copy, I like reading Kindle, and I like reading audiobooks. It really helps me because I have all these different formats that I can read in the appropriate place. So when I'm at home, I usually read my hard copy books. But when I go out of the house, I don't like to drag all these books around with me, so I take my Kindle with me, and it's actually super helpful. In times when I can't hold anything like a Kindle or a hard copy, I have my audiobook, which is super awesome for when I'm doing anything like chores, cleaning the house, doing dishes. When I'm driving is another big one. I get hours and hours and hours of audiobook done driving. I also get hours of audiobook done getting ready for work or school in the morning. Like, just having multiple formats, multiple accessible formats to reach for when maybe a different format isn't really appropriate for the setting is really helpful, because then there's always a way that you can get reading done. And the final one I'm going to leave you with is get involved. Get involved in BookTube, because honestly, I think for every reader, every avid reader, books are aesthetically pleasing. And so even like looking at a book, seeing somebody hold a book, like for example, does this just not make you want to read a book? When I watch people on YouTube holding their books and talking about their books and just like talking about how much they love them and why, it makes me want to read a book. And so when I'm in a reading slump, all I really have to do is go on BookTube, watch a few videos, talk to you guys about the books, and I'm ready to read again. If you're feeling unmotivated, just get involved. Start talking to people on BookTube about books. Start talking to your friends about the books that you've read and that you love, and start asking people what books they love and get inspired. Just let other people inspire you. Just sit back and let it happen. It's honestly the easiest thing ever. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna leave you with today. I hope that some of those tips maybe were helpful for some of you guys. Let me know the strategies you use in your life to help you read. Give me a comment below. Give me a shout out on Twitter. I'll leave all my information below for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We will see you next time. Bye.